So here's the more or less finished saw bench. I had these taken out, so I've got double-sided tape. This was the original backing behind there. You can even see some of the old numbers. But as you can see, it had come out with a pile of the paint. So that was no good. So I, with the help of my wife, for one of them, this one with a bit of damage here, she was a bit more patient than me, peeled that back off, and I've got a roll of this double-sided tape that I've actually used on the Buick for a few jobs. And I will take the table off and show you how I mounted the saw. So this is an old version of this saw, and this alloy, probably a lot of aluminium in it, but it's very flexible. So I bashed this back into shape, but it sagged in the middle, and I made these little brackets over on the milling machine. So I just undercut in there, and that's just held down with wing nuts, 4 of those. And then this can, if you have the table down onto this below, you set it so that the base of the saw goes down through the table, and you can just slide that along. So if you've got large pieces of material, so long as they can fit in between here or within the length of that, you can cut a straight cut through there. I'm going to do a bit more on this. You see this? This saw is a cheapo saw, and this is tightened up as much as it will, and you can see the amount of movement that's still in that. I think you can see the amount of flex in there. So I'll tighten things up. I think there's a flex down in this joint here actually. So I'll have a look at that, and I can nip that up. Actually, nipping that up could be just a matter of tightening it. That's noticeably better, although still flexing. Yeah, I'll have a look and see if I can beef this up a little bit. But yes, that's lined up with, as you saw. You can reverse that table. Hold on, I'll put the table back on and show you. Put the table back on, you just flip this, comes out at the end of the track, and then you can take that out down the other end, or you can actually just flip that over and drop that in and turn the table over. So you just flip that over, drop that in and pull it back, and there are hooks here and here, and the table have hooks here and here that lock into that. But I will just put the table back on. So you can read off the gap here. If I get my rule, you see that that is approximately 50. I'll be able to tweak that to get it a little more accurate. I can move the saw on the bench, on that frame, to get it correct. So, but if you turn a table around, you get a bigger bite, and the saw goes into that, and this side of the tape is graduated the other way, so you can just pick this table up and turn it around, or actually, yeah, you've got other holes here, so you can move it across and you get the second side of the tape becomes accurate, starting at 185. So it's quite a handy little tool, and it's just been sitting there in a mess. I don't know whether I had the new frame. I just made that out of new material. Gave it a squirt of black paint. This I just made out of offcut from another bit of scrap steel. Again from the offcut from the carport. And that's quite sturdy, and the feet from here go into the top of the frame. And you plug the saw into that power point there, and the extension lead into the male, and the saw into the female. And there's a switch on the other side, which then allows you to operate the saw independently. And actually, there's one more job I really probably should do, and that is, originally this had this paddle here. Yeah, that's breaking off. Those teeth were the hinge, and that just sat in there, and this piece here pushes on that, so you can just hit that paddle. If there's any trouble, you get a press to stop. So what I think I'll do is I'll mount a another little piano hinge on there and attach that onto it to get that back again. But I just really roughly put some markings on there, but it doesn't, this had, or previously had, all that marking graduated, but you really only set that once, and it's to do with the size of the saw, the size of the saw blade. So you have to set the table level and do it so that when this saw is flipped over, the saw blade goes down through the through here, through this slot from the top. So I'm not too worried about losing those graduations. I can actually just measure it off with a standard, like my 300mm rule up there, next to the, between the yellow triangle and the blue level. There's a 300mm. I've got a 600mm over there, that noise up there as well. But once I set it and lock it, then that'll be alright. These handles are doing fine, and this will, there's a gap there, so they've worked out okay. I mean, they're not as pretty as they might be, but they were made out of, like I said, old aluminium cans and swarf and things. And I'll put up another video. I had another go using the, I keep calling it a foundry, I think it's a foundry. This morning, and the crucible failed, and there'll be another video about that. That was a bit of excitement. But anyway, that table is now, I think, ready to use. So I've got a project to make with it. I've already made one for one grandson who's just turned 3, and I've got another grandson that's just turning 4. So it's a little garage for their Matchbox toys, or Hot Wheels, or whatever they are. So I made the first one without this table because it was in such a mess and wasn't really in a usable condition. And I just thought, you know, I'd set myself the target to actually make this usable and get it so it's not falling apart. That's another little job. that little bracket. I don't have them for this end, and I think probably it once would have had them. So I'll get on the mill and machine up a couple of those, just so that it protects this paint. But like I said, it doesn't move very often. Yes, so I wanted to get this back in operating condition, and I used the making of the little toy car garage as motivation for this. And I should make a video of making that garage and post that as well. Alright, that'll do.